Okie dokie, we are back for Roundtable Ravens episode number 28. I am once again joined by Billy and Buddy. We're going to jump right into some Ravens football. But first, at the top of the hour, top of the 30 minutes, whatever it is that we record usually, please, guys, if you like what you hear, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, share, do all the social media things. Go to the official Roundtable Ravens website and join it. You can make a free account. You can comment. You can like posts. We have all the news analysis. This is where this podcast lives, as well as being on the YouTube channel. But do us a favor. It gets us more exposure, especially if you like what you hear, because we're going to be here every week talking about the Ravens. And we've been here now this is our 28th episode, so 28 weeks, right? I'm doing the math right. Anyway,
that sounds right. A couple bonus episodes here and there.
Yes,
going crazy in Baltimore.
Yes, a couple bonus episodes when John Harbaugh was fired and everything went haywire. But regardless, we've been here for quite a while now doing this, talking Ravens football, and we're going to do that right now. But just do us a favor, like, subscribe, do all that social media stuff because we need it, we like it. So, jumping right in, we got Elijah Sarratt. So. This is something that me and Billy were talking about last time on the pod. Buddy was not with us. This is something that we've been talking about for a couple weeks at this point, few weeks maybe. He is one of the rookie wide receivers that has a whole lot of steam in his engine, and everybody's paying attention to these Ravens rookies for obvious reasons. Jacoby Lane was on The Lounge, which is the official Ravens podcast. He said a whole lot. It was great to hear him talk. We talked about that last time. But now Elijah Sarratt got his chance to also talk about his journey thus far, his journey through when nobody wanted to give him a chance and all the hard work that he put in to get where he's at, which I thought was really interesting and really great. And the fact that he played in Baltimore before joining the Baltimore Ravens, which again, I think that's awesome, cool, full circle moment for him. But, similar to Lane, he kind of talked about his versatility, kind of talked about, the type of receiver that he is. They're both contested catch receivers. They're both able to do those go routes to stretch the field, but he's also a yards after the carry type of player. And he's been used as a big slot as well as Lane. It's going to be really interesting to see how they are utilized, but one of them will be getting a major opportunity, as Jesse Minter said. And we don't know which one yet. It could be both. Could be, this is going to be, in my opinion, one of the more interesting camp battles to see like which one of these receivers truly emerges as that guy, as the one that's going to be trusted to take like that wide receiver 3 spot, so to speak. I know there's Devontae Walker and everybody else that's there that's needing that spot too. But I'm excited to see this guy. He was making some plays in OTAs and minicamp. He had a really big contested catch from Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson praised him. He was very appreciative of that, and also said that he's very appreciative of the fact that Jesse Minter said one of them will get a shot. I like how there's no ego with either of them. I'm not saying that there's no competition, but I like that they're already friends because they were working out together at the combine. They joined the same team, and now it's like, look, like, one of them is going to get a shot, and it's not like they're going to be stepping on each other's toes to get that shot. It's more so going to be the work that they put on the field. So very exciting things. I'm excited about both of these guys. I'll say that. But my bet is on Sarratt. I'm throwing it out there again. But anyway.
Every week. Yeah, look. I agree with you. I've wrote the exact same thing. He and Lane are very down-to-earth, hardworking guys who just aren't ruled by their egos in any way, shape, or form. And that's the Ravens football player. That's exactly the kind of guys Baltimore likes. They like these clean-cut guys that just come in, want to get things done. And I really love hearing from both of them, seeing that attitude and that culture run through them. And it's also encouraging to see that the Baltimore culture hasn't shifted that much under the new kind of administration situation. So I think I loved hearing from him. And I'm going to say this, the Ravens have a good history of drafting guys in the 4th round. They had Isaiah Likely in the 4th round, Teddy Buchanan last year, some Tylan Wallace is a fan favorite because of his, I think that run against the Rams kind of solidified him in Ravens history. They're hungry, these guys, and I think that they've got space to be hungry. That spot next to Zay Flowers is wide open, and I think he was speaking about being like a red zone guy, which is exactly what is needed right now. And he was talking about his size and his control. And I also like hearing him kind of back himself and know his skills and know exactly kind of what he can bring. And he's not just out there kind of just flailing around. He really knows exactly what he's worth and what he can benefit, because that's been an issue, scoring on, they typically go run in the red zone. And why wouldn't you when you got Derrick Henry right there? But having that variety, I think is going to be really great. So, as much as I love Jacoby Lane, I think I see the place for Elijah Sarratt, and I'm really excited. And I also like to see him kind of getting advice from Anquan Boldin, who's, a guy that means a lot to the Ravens and an incredible guy. So I think he's going to make waves this season.
Yeah, just real quick on that, because I forgot to mention it too. Yeah, he did get advice from Bolden during the combine. And then, he said he was talking to him about releases and talking about being a contested catch playmaker, which, everybody that's a Ravens fan knows what Bolden did during that Super Bowl year. He was fantastic. So, what a person to get advice from before you even joined the Ravens. You know what I mean? Like I said, another full circle moment for him. But it's just exciting. It's exciting. We'll get more into this aspect of it with Rashod Bateman a little bit later. But it's just exciting because I feel now they have two rookie receivers that they can really mold and can really do some damage on that offense for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah. And they got Zay Flowers right there.
For sure. I think that's the beauty of it, right? Because like when they both drafted these guys, I remember I picked Lane as a guy who I feel like could come out, but watching Sarratt, reading what he could do, I mean, I was like, whoa! I think the Ravens just found maybe two guys who could be maybe their pillars at that position, right? Certainly, maybe not right out the gate, but I love that they're competing. I love the competition of it, and it's crazy too because Sarratt, you could argue Sarratt was kind of maybe overlooked in his time in Indiana because of Omar Cooper, and certainly the same with Jacoby Lane, overlooked by Mekhi Lemon, rightfully so. Right now, these guys come in, and while they may not get to shine right away, they could prove that, hey, I mean, if we had our own opportunity, we could have done just as good or even better, right? And the fact that the Ravens have these two guys, and they have all the potential in the world, literally. There is no ceiling to them right now, especially with Lamar Jackson throwing them the ball. These guys could eventually, by the end of the year, or maybe by mid-season, Jackson could be looking down at Lane on a consistent basis, looking down at Stroud on a consistent basis. So, I mean, this is only great news for the Ravens moving down. And for the past couple of years, especially when Lamar's there, it's always been, well, yeah, now it's Flowers, right? But it's like, okay, who's the guy after Flowers? Or even before Flowers, right? Like, well, who's the wide receiver one, right? You've had Des Bryant, you've had DeAndre Hopkins and whatnot. But if you could create, if Stroud and Lane could, kind of build something for themselves, that would be huge for the Ravens and an automatic steal for sure in the draft for these two guys.
Yeah, and I think some of those guys that, likely was a favorite candidate for Lamar for a while. He's not there anymore. There are holes around, beyond the receiver situation. Charlie Kolar's also gone. Rashod Bateman hasn't really been thriving in the way that he possibly could do. So he not only are, they really just have to be good week one because they are now necessary to the game. And so I think that's really, hopefully isn't going to be a pressure for them, more of like an exciting opportunity. Yeah, I think it's for the first time in a while, he's really just got, there's just that space in Baltimore now that you really going to have to show up and out week one.
What was crazy, I don't know if you guys caught this, but during his sit down with Ryan Mink and Gary Downing, Ryan straight up called him out. I was like, look, you're not the fastest and you're not the biggest. I was like, whoa, all right, we're doing that. But he's like, you're right, I'm not. He's like, but that ability to outwork everybody and to get where he's at, that's important. Like you just said, Billy, that's a Ravens player through and through. But even more so, that's just putting yourself in the better position because nobody's going to outwork you from what you've already had to do to get where you're at and to also show out on the team that you're on. Because yes, that wide receiver room is wide open other than Zay Flowers. And like I said, we'll get into Bateman in a second here. But the point being, like, you have the opportunity. Jesse Minter said you have the opportunity, and well, they may not know like the wide receiver room, so to speak, because they're rookies or whatever. But the fact that your head coach is saying one of these rookies are going to get a substantial chance in 2026, that should be all the fuel you need to go out there and play really good football. Not that he wasn't going to already, but that is your catalyst for you to go out there and show out. And, exactly like you just said, buddy, like this could be a situation where both Lane and Sarratt are those guys that emerge immediately in year one, and then in year two you got a trio of young receivers, including Flowers, that are now one of the best units in the league for that reason. So it's like I wrote something about this. I said that this might be one of the best rooms they've had in many years, because apart from Flowers, who the hell else have they had? Again, I know Bateman kind of in 2024, but other than that, nobody else has really popped up. You've relied heavily on Isaiah Likely and relied heavily on Mark Andrews, but as a wide receiver, there's not been one wide receiver who's really been that guy next to Zay Flowers, and that's what's needed. You can't be that one-dimensional team with Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers doing all the heavy work and Derrick Henry. You got to be able to spread the ball around and get in those different schemes and those different looks. And right now, it looks like both of these receivers can be. Even Jacoby Lane, I know he's a taller guy and he's more the vertical guy, but you can still put him in the middle and he can still do damage over the middle and yards after the carry situation. So it's like you can mix and match these guys, in my opinion, and still have a really, really potent offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they're not chasing down that veteran receiver. They've not brought Hopkins back. Usually they've got that guy in that they're just one year deal too. So they like what they see and they trust him. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and this, we've talked about this. I'm going to continue talking about it. I know that maybe I'm the outlier here in this, but question that I want to pose to everybody that I've keep bringing up and I keep asking myself is this Rashod Bateman's last year? Is this his last chance? Not last year. I know he just signed that deal. He's through 2029. But my point being, is this the year that he needs to prove that the patience has been worth it, that he is truly that receiver that the Ravens need him to be? He has a chance under a brand new offensive system under Declan Doyle. And, with Jesse Minter, obviously Jesse's a, defensive mind, but still, he's still going to be the head coach of the team and needs to know the offense installs and all that good stuff. But what we just got done talking about, you have Elijah Sarratt, you have Jacoby Lane. Those two guys already, like you can tell they're gonna be good for the team. You know what I mean? Whatever position that they're put in 2026 and beyond that, they're gonna be good for the team. But then you have LeJohntay, Wester, and then you got Devontae Walker, who Zay Flowers said could be taking that leap in year 3, and you have this competition, this influx of young talent, this hungry talent, and is this his final year to really show that he can be trusted to be that guy next to Zay Flowers?
I think so, if Sarratt and Lane are the guys that we think they are. But I think it's less about like him. I think at this point, and I've said it week after week after week, I think he's just had enough. And I think he's just frustrated. And I'm more curious to see how he handles it, because it's going to be humbling or it's going to be incredibly frustrating. If he wants a spot on a different team, then the only way to do that is to show up and out this year, because he hasn't, of course, he's had great-ish seasons in the past. He's had standout moments. He's a guy that Ravens fans knows because sometimes he does just come in clutch. Sometimes he just is there when Lamar needs him to be, and he's not been there all game. He comes in, does this amazing play, and then he's not seen again. I think it's going to be a case of, for him, how much are they going to use him? How much are they going to trust him to be the guy? What's the relationship with Lamar Jackson like? Has that been strained over the years? Like, there's more, I think it's more of an emotional situation as opposed to like this is, ride or die for him this year. And like you said, Devontae Walker is consistent when he needs to be. He's not had the opportunity to kind of show up, and Wester was great. He's a great returner, but I don't think that they're looking for him to kind of come in as a receiver. I was last year when I saw him in preseason. I thought he was really great, really fast, really had a lot of skills. So I would like to see him get more opportunities, but I think his role is return. So for me, with the Bateman situation, it's less about like, does he have the potential to do well? Because I think it's there. I think he just needs to show it and be given the opportunity to show it. And I think he's probably just had enough at this point and would like to maybe chase other opportunities. But like I said, you can only do that by having a great season.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think probably best case scenario for him is that he balls out first half of the season and maybe, balls out in terms of not obviously like leading the team in receptions or yards or anything like that, but does his part on the team, and Sarratt and Lane do their part, so the Ravens are comfortable enough to be like, okay, it was a good run, it was a good 5 years, 5+ years. It's time to go, Bateman, and him go off to another team, and we'll see how he does there. I mean, like last year, just looking at the numbers, it wasn't pretty. It was what, second
was
lowest.
It for anyone last year?
Yeah, that's true. But it just, it was just 2025. Obviously, wasn't like a pretty year for the Ravens or anything like that, and Bateman was just part of that as well. Career low in yards and receptions, and a career low in yards per receptions as well. So like this is a guy who's had a couple of highs and certainly a lot of lows. Maybe with a new regime, maybe with a new offensive system, Doyle finds a way to, make him useful, make him, I don't know, something like that, right? But right now it's all wait and see, and it's just really tough because this is a guy who was obviously chosen in the first round and kind of was looked upon as like who could be another, maybe not a wide receiver one, but someone who could really be a consistent piece in the offense, and that's just, unfortunately for him, that hasn't been the case.
Eric DeCosta's really been his number one champion his entire career, and he can't do anything other than that. He can't go onto the field and tell Harbaugh and now Minter what to do with his job. So all he can really do is trust that like he'll get the chance to show what he did. But I think that there's just been too many frustrations that, like we said, with this new regime could be entirely different. He may just show up and out and he may just get the opportunity, but I just don't know. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, that is a possibility that they consider him a trade candidate, before the deadline happens. If that's the case, if he does ball out, but then you got Sarratt and you got Lane doing their work, and Walker takes that step too. That's more draft capital for the following year. So I could definitely see that happening, as opposed to him staying in Baltimore. Like you said, Billy, like he might just be done with the I have to be superhero receiver, because that has been the case. It's like either you're gonna emerge or you won't, and if you won't, you know what I mean, like it's just been a lot of pressure on him. So and I did say that I was like 2025 is not the benchmark to be judging anybody, because I was like, that was a down year for Lamar Jackson, for the offense, for the team. That is not the fair year. Obviously he did what he did in 2024, but the inconsistencies are well known. But previous to that, he's been so up and down that you haven't really been there's no like 2-year period where you're like, hey, he can be this guy. It's only the 1 year. So yeah, I mean, trade candidate possibly, but I think with this infusion of younger talent, and again, like you just said, Billy, earlier, if we think that, or if Lane and Sarratt are what we think they are, then that's going to be trouble for any receiver, really, because it's like you already got Flowers, and then you got these two up-and-comers that just come out and ball out. That's going to be the trio moving forward. They're going to invest a lot of time and energy into those guys as opposed to anybody else. So, we'll see. This I know that was kind of a camp battle, but let's lead right into our camp battles. Or what are we most concerned about? What are we most excited to see? I know we've talked to wide receivers in depth plenty of times, and it's just fun to do that. But that being said, I'll kick us off with mine, which has just been a concern, and I'm still concerned. I'm going to be concerned for multiple weeks, and that's the center position. We still don't know what's going on. Danny Pinter is that leading guy, supposedly. That's what everyone believes it to be, but he still only has 10 starts in the NFL at center. Jovan Gwynn came out of nowhere. I know guards can transition into being centers. We've seen it before. It happens. But it's still concerned because the experience level is not there. This is just my concern. I'm not excited about it. I'm just concerned because I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm really concerned because it's like the center is so important, not to just every team, but to the Ravens, especially because of how they operate with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and everything, So, yeah. Danny Pinter, I guess, is the guy until they go and bring somebody else in.
My number one concern isn't just the center, it's the entire offensive line, because Tyler Linderbaum has been the anchor of that there's a reason. I mean, there are a lot of full start penalties on the Ravens line. It's been an issue throughout the years. Don't know if that was a horrible thing or whatever. We'll see how that plays out this year. But he's been the anchor for that line. And yes, while not much has changed, right, you still have Ronnie Stanley, and I guess that's really it, kind of anchoring down there at that point. Like, you know, that is Lamar's insurance policy standing right in front of him. And that's going to continue to be a concern to me all the way through week 3. And I can see a consistent level of play there where I can kind of exhale and be like, okay, Lamar's ankles are safe. Derrick Henry isn't going to be stopped after one kind of go at it. So yeah, that's my biggest concern. It's going to stay my biggest concern. But in terms of what I'm excited for, I've said it, you know, the receiver room, I am excited to see that kind of go down between Lane and Sarratt. But more than anything, I think I'm kind of excited to see the defense come back together again under that Jesse Minter leadership, because that's his mind. That's the way he's hired, because he's a defensive guy. And as much as the offense has kind of been shining for the last few years, the Ravens are known for their defense. They're known for hard-hitting, gritty defense, and I want to see them so desperately get back to that. And I think that they've got the players now around Kyle Hamilton, around Roquan Smith, that they can kind of get back to that. And these guys don't have to be the kind of center doing everything all the time kind of guys. So I think there's competition everywhere really to be had outside of Lamar and Derrick Henry. I think they're the two guys, and Zay Flowers, who don't really have to worry about anything. And I think the defense is just going to come together in this really great way.
Real quick, Calais Campbell and Zion Young, I'm just excited to see what they do for the defense.
That's fun.
I'm excited to see really Hendrickson not in black and orange. So
yeah, really though, really.
That's true. No, yeah, James, that defensive line, you know, on the edge, that's really fun. Mine, I went with one that's certainly exciting for me, one that I'm looking forward to, and one that I believe could play a big role if things maybe don't go Derrick Henry's way. That's the running back 3 position, with Rasheen Ali and Adam Randall.
Randall.
You know, that's one that I'm really excited about.
Bashoti's pick? That's Bashoti's
Yeah, that's Bashoti's pick. Yeah, that guy.
That's
me too.
Really
I want to see if Bashoti got his money's worth on that one.
No, yeah, that one's good to me because, like, Henry's 32 years old. If they make it to the playoffs, he's going to be 33 years old at that time. A lot of wear and tear.
What are you saying there, buddy?
No, without a doubt. I'm just saying we just don't know how it's going to play out. Hopefully there is no injury there, but if there is, then obviously Justice Hill will be upgraded, but like, who will be that number 2 if it gets to that point? You have Ali, who's a little bit more explosive. He's more of a slasher. I believe he complements more Henry in that way, right? If he does eventually get the opportunity. And for Randall, he's a little bit of a wild card in a way. He has like these gadget motion roles that could be beneficial for Doyle on the offense. So that's one position battle that I'm certainly looking forward to. Maybe not one that's like highly anticipated or anything like that, but one who I believe could, hopefully it doesn't, but it could maybe play a big way sometime during the season and maybe down the road as well.
I think they've always had these great receivers, like Keaton Mitchell, which they just shipped off to LA. Yeah. I was devastated to not get to see his full potential reached on this.
Yeah, so was I.
They've always had those guys back there that have this potential, but because it's Derrick Henry, you just when you've got that's sometimes just all you need. And so even Justice Hill wasn't getting a chance to show. So it would be nice to see them kind of diversify, because sometimes, not that they figure out Derrick Henry necessarily, but like, sometimes things just can't go his way, and so you need to kind of just diversify it a little bit, throw in a sneaky play that you've not kind of shown before, and that's when they come in. And I think, yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's those kind of battles that matter a great deal too. You know, you never know who can emerge, because then even that RB3 person can get some touches, and then you go, oh, wait a minute, hold on. This guy's doing some damage on the ground. And then you start looking at the offensive system. You start looking at ways in which you can incorporate that player even more. And Adam Randall, he is a wide receiver that turned into a running back. He was not that great as a wide receiver. And then his coach was like, nah, you're going to be a running back. And he exploded in the senior year, which is what led him being being drafted by the Ravens, and Steve Bisciotti was like, "This is my guy, I want him." But I mean, you look at his tape and you look at the way he plays, like he's fantastic, and he's a running back that can operate at catching the ball as well. You know what I mean? Obviously, Derrick Henry can do all that too, but I'm just saying, like, to have another Derrick Henry-esque type of running back right behind him would be insane. Obviously, Justice Hill is the guy right now, but you never know what can happen through training camp and through preseason. You see these guys out there, cutting up the field and doing their thing. It could turn into a very important camp battle down the stretch.
I mean, it's going to be because Derrick Henry, yeah, he's great, but he is older, and at some point he will have to retire. And if he finishes out his career in Baltimore, and that's 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, these guys are going to be the guys coming up behind him who are going to be taking his knowledge, taking his. There was that year when the Ravens were all just stiff arming everyone. Like, he has such a massive impact on everyone around him, that I think that running back room's really got a lot to look forward to with him at the front.
No, oh my God, almost choked. Definitely.
It's like, please don't choke.
No, like, yeah, it's really exciting. There's a lot of exciting elements. I think going back to where you're talking about too with the defense, like, yeah, I'm very curious to see how it transforms under Jesse Minter and with Anthony Weaver back in the building. You're bringing Calais Campbell, who is just a fantastic player just in general. Like, who doesn't love Calais Campbell in the NFL? Like, every team that he's played with, every even opponent, like, their fans are like, dude, Calais Campbell is just Calais Campbell. Like, he's a great leader. He's a great player. He's a great person. Like, I just want to see that guy on the field. Like, I'm sad that he's saying that this is going to be his last year, but you get that. Yeah, Trey Hendrickson is a crazy good pass rusher. Not so good on the run stopping there, but then you got Zion Young in the building who can be that player that they need, and that defensive line is going to be exciting. I'm excited to see how the cornerback room shakes out, even more so. I think it's going to be that fourth spot that's going to be one of the bigger battles, because you have Nate Wiggins, you have Marlon Humphrey, and then Woozy. But then beyond that, I know they brought in, I forgot the rookie's name. What's his name? Oh goodness.
Chandler Rivers.
Chandler Rivers. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's he could come out and play a part too in the defense. We don't know. We don't really know how it's all going to come together, how it's all going to look, but it's very exciting because now you have all these new moving parts. You have this new coaching staff. You have some holdovers from the Harbaugh era, but there is a brand new, for the most part, coaching staff in, and you get to see again, like, I know a lot of people don't really care for it, but I love training camp because it's like you just get to see like how everything starts to fit together, and obviously then you see the concerns, you see the red flags immediately. You're like, oh, what is going to happen with this team, with this position group? Obviously, other than the center, Ravens don't really have any kind of like red flags right now, but the offensive line and mainly that center position is their biggest red flag, is their biggest concern. We don't really know what it's going to look like. We don't really know what's going to happen with it. And there could be a situation where they have to go out and get a center because maybe it's not going to be Danny Pinter or Jovan Gwynn or Corey Bullock. We don't know yet, but they have to put the pads on and we have to start seeing.
Here's one more training camp thing I'm looking forward to. Is Nnamdi Madubuike going to be on the field?
Oh, yes. We forgot a little bit about our boy.
Yeah.
Is he going to be on the field? That's what I want to see. That's what every single day I'm going to be waking up.
Can you imagine?
Look at
That's
that.
a good one.
Can you imagine if they don't say anything and then he just jogs out on the field that first day of training camp? Like, oh my God. That would be pretty epic. But
that'd be so great for him and for the Ravens as well. Yeah.
The thing is, like, we don't know either because the last thing we heard was Jesse Minter said, we're gonna let it work itself out. I'm excited.
Dude, that was like 2 months ago, right?
No, this was recent. This was recent, okay. Right after the end of minicamp, because somebody asked him the question: is Madubuike coming back? And he said, "This is like the last time I'm gonna answer this." Basically, is the gist of what he said. Yeah, he said, "I'm gonna let it work itself out, but I'm excited about where it's at, or I'm happy about where it's at." So again, I know we talked about this also in depth and for weeks and months at this point. We just think maybe that he's pausing until he knows for sure he can take the field and he wants to come out and say, I'm back, as opposed to like, the speculation that he's there or whatever the case may be. And, a lot of players have said that he's been in the building, he's been working out and he looks good, he looks strong, but there's been no confirmation that he's going to come back. But what a journey/story would it be if he just jogs out on the field in training camp?
I mean, that's the perfect place to test your body. Give it a little go. Safer environment than the week one environment. So, I think maybe a couple plays, see how it feels, test it out. Probably the best place to kind of give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely, especially too because that'll tell you all you need to that'll tell you everything right there. If your body's not ready for you to come back, then it's not ready for you to come back. And training
Yeah.
camp is for that reason. It's training camp. It's not your preseason. It's not throwing you out in week one. You haven't played, you haven't hit anybody or you haven't been hit by anybody for that long. You know what I mean? So you have to test it out. But we'll see. We have no further update. I don't think Jesse Minter is going to. He's not going to say. I don't think he's going to talk about it anymore.
No one, they're so tired of it. They're like, please stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important question, and as media, I understand why it's always asked every single time. But at this point, it's kind of like, okay, well, there's really no other thing to say until he himself probably comes out and says he's coming back or not. I think that's what they're waiting for. I don't think they want to say that they want to let him announce it or whatever the case may be.
Right.
But thank you guys so much for listening. This has been Roundtable Ravens episode number 27. 28. Episode number 28. Again, please do us a favor, like, subscribe, share with all your Ravens fans or your Ravens haters. We don't care either one. In the description of this video will be the official Roundtable Ravens site. You can join for free. Like, comment, do all the things. We have news analysis. We're going to be bringing in a lot of training camp stuff ahead of training camp, looking at the roster in general, all that good stuff. But we will be back next week to talk all about the Ravens. Thank you guys for listening.